What's going on, everybody? You are watching Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. Come up on today's show. This Vikings quarterback target is starting to make way too much sense, but I got a feeling a lot of you guys watching today's show won't be the biggest fan of it, and that quarterback target being Kirk Cousins. My, oh my, you knew this offseason was not going to come and go without us doing a full video on Kirk Cousins. So we'll be talking about it, diving into the pros, diving into the cons, the contract situation, because it is looking likely that Kirk Cousins will be cut by the Atlanta Falcons unless he is named their no doubt starter heading in the next season. But if you guys could hit that subscribe button today. Here's an updated look at all our NFC North channels here, and right now we are in third. We got a long ways to go to move up to number 2 with the Lions Talk channel, as they're over 100K. Our Bears channel's over 150K, but we are demolishing the Packers channel, which is absolutely fantastic. So if you guys want to help us close that gap, hit that subscribe button today. Appreciate all the support on the channel, but it's going to be a crazy offseason. So if you guys don't want to miss a thing about around your Minnesota Vikings, hit that sub button today. All right, so this came out January 6th, but I want to revisit it for today's show. Talking about the contract situation going on here with the Falcons and Kirk Cousins, as they recently agreed to a modified contract and the upside for both sides as the team gets cap flexibility with Cousins, and the NFL now know he will be a free agent by March 13 at the latest. Doesn't mean he can't be back in Atlanta. So then ESPN, they chimed in on it, saying as part of the restructure, there is now a guarantee in the amount of $67.9 million for the 2027 season that vests March 13th. Given the high unlikelihood that the Falcons or any team that would acquire Cousins via trade before March 13th would want to be on the hook for that $67.9 million, a decision on Cousins' future could come before that date. The restructure also included reducing his 2026 base salary from a non-guaranteed $35 million to just $2.1, a difference of $32.9. The amount equals the increase in his 2027 compensation that this amended deals includes, just split differently. The restructure does not impact any guaranteed money allowed to Cousins. So this leaves 3 options for the Atlanta Falcons. Number 1, Kirk is staying and will contend to start week 1. Number 2, Kirk is doing the Falcons a solid and hitting free agency. I think that's likely. But also number 3, this could just be opening up more cap space to get more weapons at wide receiver, just get more talent around this defense. Now, I think if I had to rank these, I think number 1 is probably number 1 that Kirk is most likely staying in Atlanta to be the starter with uncertainty around Michael Penix. Plus, that's a guaranteed starting spot for Kirk. But also, I think number 2 has a chance. And I do think there is a good chance that Kirk Cousins becomes a free agent this cycle, which would be great news for the Minnesota Vikings. Not saying that Kirk would be a slam dunk choice as the backup quarterback for JJ. And also, I think Kirk would still want to be the starter. And plus, would he want to return to Minnesota to be the backup for JJ McCarthy unless they just offer it up to him and say, hey, if you beat out JJ McCarthy in camp, we're not going to be picking favorites here. We're just going to have a good old-fashioned QB competition. Kirk does make some sense. And, Kirk played some pretty damn good football this season. He impressed the shit out of me. And I think with Kirk Cousins, I think everybody was kind of overreacting to his 2024 season when he was coming off a torn Achilles, but with another year removed from that, I think everybody was saying, oh, Kirk's done, he's washed. And yes, he is definitely not the same guy he was when he was balling out with the Minnesota Vikings and specifically Kevin O'Connell. But I will say on the Kirk Cousins front, this does make a lot of sense in terms of what they're looking for at the QB position because, yes, if there's a big fish out there, if there's a Joe Burrow, a Lamar Jackson, one of these marquee superstars at the QB position are available, they're going to do their due diligence and go try to acquire one of those guys. But what are they looking for? They're looking for a veteran, they're looking for stability, and they're looking for competition. Kirk Cousins checks all of those boxes. Now there's also the whole factor where it's like, I have my doubts if Kirk would really want to return to Minnesota, but also his family loved his time in Minnesota. He still got a place in the Minnesota area. So I think there's a lot of different factors. But I think this is just one where you're looking at all the other free agents, like a Malik Willis. Does that make too much sense? Does a Jimmy Garoppolo really move the needle? Do any of these other quarterbacks move a needle? I think Kirk Cousins does because let's just say worst case scenario, JJ gets hurt or Kirk just flat out beats McCarthy in a quarterback battle and he's starting all 17 games, it's not a bad situation for the 2026 Minnesota Vikings. But I'll ask you guys this. Would you bring back Kirk Cousins? Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no. I cannot wait to hop down in the comment section on today's show to see what you guys are thinking about this one. So, trying to get the pulse of the fan base here. Would you bring back Kirk Cousins? Y for yes, N for no. Now, I don't really have a definite take on this, but I do just want to weigh some of the pros and cons. So we'll dive into that here coming up in just a second. But let me tell you about today's sponsor, and that is Factor Meals. Now, if you guys head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use promo code VikingsChat50 off, we'll hook you guys up with 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Now, the new year is here, which means you guys probably got some big goals. And if you guys don't have any time to cook, well, Factor makes it easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs so you can eat well without all the shopping or cooking. Now, I love the blackened salmon. I love the Texas cheddar burger, and also love with Factor that they have no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils as well. They got over 100 rotating weekly meals, high protein, calorie smart, ready to eat salads. They do it all over there at Factor. So head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off. Plug in that promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. This offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. So make healthier eating easy with Factor. All right, let's dive into the pros and cons of Kirk Cousins returning because, even though I think it's starting to make a lot of sense on a Kirk return to Minnesota, there are definitely some cons here. But I think number one, and Kirk would bring this to any franchise he goes to, it's got to be the quarterback stability. Like, I think what was such an issue with the Vikings this past season is when J.J. McCarthy got hurt, or even when he was playing and he was playing some rough football, you didn't have just an easy option to go to where it's like, hey, we could get a quarterback in here who knows what we like to do, and he can execute that, yes, not at an all-time sky-high, level, but like the floor is raised a whole lot. And also Kirk, throughout his career, he's been fairly healthy. I know that torn Achilles his last year in Minnesota is really his only major injury, but besides that, Kirk's been healthy. I would probably bank on Kirk being healthy the entire season next year. So just having that stability at the quarterback spot, I think is the number one pro Kirk Cousins brings. Now, the number one con, I just think is the drama around it. Like, Kirk Cousins back to the Vikings. Like, what does that do for, a guy like J.J. McCarthy? What does that do to, like, this fan base? Like, that would be pretty polarizing, and I'm more thinking about this from the Wilf's perspective. Like, I don't give a damn about the drama. I'm sure Kevin O'Connell doesn't care about the drama. I'm more talking about from, like, a fan base perspective, like, from the Wilf's point of view, where it's like, hey, if you bring in Kirk and, like, for example, J.J. McCarthy starts struggling, like, the words or the noise of benching him are going to get super, super loud, super, super quick. So the drama is definitely a curveball in this situation. But also, another massive pro here, he knows the system like the back of his hand. I don't think that could be undersold. And also, talking about knowing the system, well, he knows the best player on your football team. He knows Justin Jefferson. You go back to that 2022 season when Jefferson had 1,800 yards and he was fifth in MVP voting. I'm sure if Jefferson got word that Kirk's coming back, I'm sure he would be like, okay, I'll take it because I'm coming off a year when I barely got over 1,000 yards. I had 2 touchdowns on the entire season. I'm sure if Kirk was back in the fold, Jefferson would be happy about it. Also, it would be a seamless transition where it's like, let's just if they go out there and get a Mac Jones or they go get one of these other guys, like they got to completely retool their mind for the Kevin O'Connell offense, but that's not the case with Kirk Cousins. He will know the system. Now, another con here, and I don't even necessarily know if this is a con. It puts a lot of pressure on J.J. McCarthy because this is going to be an every game thing with him. Like, I want everybody to kind of imagine and kind of foreshadow here of like, all right, it's week 1, and it's J.J. McCarthy. He's the starter, but Kirk Cousins is the backup. Let's just say the offense, and we're playing like, I don't know, the Washington Commanders at home, and the offense is, stalling out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Like, I would not doubt that there would be like, we want Kirk chants at US Bank Stadium. And then also every single week in practice, like if JJ's starting to have some bad practices, he starts stealing balls, he's not playing too good, and Kirk Cousins is over there dialing it up. I'll put a lot of pressure on J.J. McCarthy, but that could also help him. Like Kevin O'Connell was talking about that competition in the quarterback room could help out this football team. So, you could view that as a con or you could view that as a pro. But, the number one pro here is like he would be a high-end backup. Now, also, I say that to say this. I don't know if Kirk Cousins would be cool with coming to Minnesota to be the backup for J.J. McCarthy. Unless that's just what he wants to do. Like, if he wants to go kind of take the Joe Flacco route for the rest of his career where it's like, what? I don't need to be a 17-game starter. But if you guys need me to step in for a game or two or maybe a month if JJ gets hurt again, like, he would bring that value of being a high-end backup quarterback. So if I had to do it, and let's just say you can't go get, a Burrow or one of these guys, I think my ideal quarterback room for the Vikings, now this obviously comes down if Kirk gets cut. You sign Kirk on a one-year deal, very cheap, less than $10 million, and it's JJ, Kirk Cousins, but like JJ still the guy. And that would require JJ beating out Kirk Cousins in training camp, which I think he would because, I think Vikings fans, I think people just think JJ's a finished product right now. Whoops, I almost dropped my water. I think people think JJ's just a finished product right now, and it really does drive me crazy where they think this 22-year-old kid just can't get any better. What do you think he's going to be doing all offseason? He's going to be working on his craft. Now, can he take a massive jump from where he was this past season to next season? We'll see. But I promise you, just like anything, the more he works at it, the better he'll get. Now, how big of those strides, really are, we'll wait and see. But I would have full confidence in JJ beating out Kirk Cousins in a quarterback competition. Michael Penix beat him out. Michael Penix is terrible. I think JJ McCarthy with another offseason, working his game, working his craft, could easily do that. So you guys let me know. Call your shot. Who would be QB1 for the Vikings next season? I think it's going to be JJ. But if you guys disagree, let me know your thoughts down below. Now hit that subscribe button on your way out. Keep you guys posted with everything around your Minnesota Vikings. We'll get on out of here. As always, let's go Vikes.